Good lighting doesn't make you a great photographer any more than a good camera makes you a great photographer. But having the right tools to do what you want to do certainly will get you from A to B much faster. The company started in the 60s with two friends, Connie and Eckert. One was a salesman and one was an engineer, and neither was really happy with what flashes were available at the time. And the famous quote is that Eckert said, "I'm going to build the best flash system in the world." And Connie said, "If you build the best flash system in the world, I'm going to sell it." Together, the complete company of two in 1968 went to Photokina for the first time with the original Pro Pack. And that's really the origin of where Profoto started. Personally, I got into photography very young. I was probably 13 or 14 years old when I remember being at the grocery store with my mother and seeing the magazines on the checkout rack saying, that's what I would like to do. I'd like to photograph those people. It's always been a passion of mine. I went to college for photography, and then I went to work for Hasselblad for a few years. I was with Broncolor for 10 years, and I've been with Profoto for about the last 23 years. I absolutely adore the company, and I adore the people, and I like the whole philosophy of what we're all about. So, we're really about making products designed for the needs of photographers, even if the photographers don't realize what the need is. I want to understand what you're doing today, and I want to understand how that interfaces with the products that I know are coming out tomorrow. So we're planning our product development in parallel to the other products, so we're relevant. So for me, the why is very simple. It works. You don't need a college degree to use it. I turn the light on, I push the button, and it flashes, and it works every time. It's the same color temperature and the same output, and the quality of light is exactly as I'm used to. And if I was shooting a wedding at a reception and I was shooting hundreds of pictures, the last thing I'd want to do is get back to my studio and go into retouching and start working on every single image individually because the light was a little off, or the color was a little off, or the exposure was different. It's much better to get it right in camera, and that's really what Profoto gives you. It's easy, it's intuitive, it gives you that consistency right off the bat, and it gives you the room to grow as you want to take on more and more of the manual control. So I was at a trade show and I was talking to a woman who was just explaining to me her flash nightmares. And she said, I bought them, I try to use them, they don't work, can't get the reliability. And I was just about to break into my spiel. The guy behind her tapped her on the shoulder and said, "That's why you buy Profoto, you only cry once." Once you get past the price and you start thinking about the investing into the system, and you look at the savings of time and the savings of not having to step up in baby steps 3 or 4 or 5 different brands of strobe to get what you're really looking for. With Profoto, you're investing in a system, and the system's going to work your entire career. No matter what you do in photography, there's always going to be a part of the Profoto system that's going to work for you. It's a terrible thing as a creative to fear technology. You should always be looking to incorporate the latest technologies and stay on the cutting edge, because if you, a few years ago, said photographers were going to start doing pictures with cell phones and Apple was going to become probably the biggest camera manufacturer in the world, you'd say that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. That'll never happen. But we've seen a major food magazine did a whole issue taken with the cell phone. When they interviewed the art director, they say, "Why would you do that?" And they said, "Because our customers are looking at food in restaurants and they're taking pictures with their phones in restaurants." And that's sort of the angle and what they're expecting to see and being represented in the magazine. And that's why they did it. Even in behind the scenes in professional shoots in the fashion world, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff is being done with cell phones. So a few years ago, we came out with the C1 and the C1 Plus, which were lights designed specifically around taking pictures with your phone. And then we introduced AirX technology, which is really an integration of a Bluetooth module in the lighting and into the phone to not only let you take pictures with your phone, but also let you control your flashes with your phone. So that's going forward. That's integrated into everything we do. My all-time favorite is the beauty dish. I mean, we have a hard beauty dish and we have some collapsible versions, some softbox type versions. Because the light comes out and hits a counter reflector and gets bounced back in, there's a real indirect quality to it, but it's still, because of the size and because of the shape, it's still a very directional light. The flip side of that is I love a reflector we call the Magnum reflector. And think of it as the sunshine in the late afternoon where you have just a beam of light coming out. But it's not a harsh light. You can still use that light. It's a soft light to mimic the sun. And I think that really makes it a super versatile light. One of the things that I think is so important for photographers today is just education. We are where we are because we make a point to learn the trends in the business, the trends in other manufacturers, what the needs of the photographer are going to be down the road. And I think it's important for photographers to do the same, to go out and meet the manufacturers, to understand what their philosophies are, where their products are going. because you're not really buying a product for today. You really want to be investing in a product for the future too. We're just really trying to support the market and develop products and supply products that help photographers achieve their goals better. If you have a vision, we want to help you make it easy to get that vision.